Welcome back, Overwatch fans, to another amazing night.
We have a fantastic match tonight, no question about it.
Oh my god, yes!
With the barrage! Make sure they can't even follow up afterwards.
And Watchers down 2 in this fight thus far. Make that 3, make that 4 right now here. Dynamic team gets a 4-man tire.
Those who find the picks will save the fights, and they don't really need to save what they've already won.
100 gets 3 with the rival race.
Experience tranquility.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to our Transcendence Tier feature match, this Season 9 kickoff day for Transcendence Tier. I am Mr. Yeti. Joining me is Beth Con. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. How about you?
I am awesome. We got a fantastic matchup coming up tonight. The Guangzhou Gangsters, formerly known as Epizeuxis, that is your Season 8 Transcendence Tier champions. By the way, perfect record last season. Very, very good-looking team. Taking on newcomers this season, and I say newcomers only by name because this team is definitely not newcomers, and that's Death Cards. Beth, there are so many impressive Tranquility veterans on both of these teams.
There really are, and you gotta throw it over first to Guangzhou Gangsters, formerly Epizeuxis. Cam, one of their players, was the MVP last season. Definitely going to be keeping a close eye out for him this game. But this rosters on both sides are loaded. For the Gangsters, you got QZ, Trudonger, Frozen. For Death Cards, you have Delphi, DNA, Orsted. It's just long-time Tranquility veterans on both sides, really solid players on both sides. I have a feeling we're going to see a really good match tonight.
Absolutely. It should be a fantastic one, no doubt about it. We're going to head into Paul first, as has been the case all week. For those of you who are just, again, tuning in here, this is the Transcendence Tier feature match here, starting off week 1 of Season 9 here in Tranquility. This is a 5-week stage 1 before we dive into Overwatch 2, so it should be a blast of a time getting there. But like I said, we're kicking it off on Nepal today. Both rosters, again, very stacked full of talent. You covered several of them. You mentioned Orsted. Orsted himself, that's a Tranquility Hall of Famer right there. Former MVP on his own as well. DNA, former All-Star, Tank Roll Star, Charybdis All-Star as well. Been a Roll Star. Delphi, same deal. Cam, Frozen, Trudonger, QZ. All of these players have an extensive history here in Tranquility, and it's absolutely phenomenal to see just how much talent is on these two stacked teams. You got to expect them both to be in the definitely when it comes down to it by the end of the season. Both of these teams probably be a couple of the teams battling for the championship.
Definitely, and we're getting really lucky in being able to see both of these teams week 1. It'll be interesting to see how they end up facing off against each other, considering this is the first week of the season, not a lot of time for scouting and things like that. Starting here on Sanctum, it looks like we're running out on Dive, or kind of a 6-man on one side for Guangzhou and then a double shield on the other. It'll be really interesting to see how these two play into each other.
All right, and Death Cards now with that double shield look is very, very different and interesting. We haven't really seen that kind of. I don't typically see that kind of composition on this map, but a lot of different choices being made by both these teams. And here we go in this Transcendence Tier feature match. I know right now I think we're working on getting sound in. I do apologize for that while we're getting that pulled up here, but sound should be coming up very shortly. But here comes the halt in from Kersey, not able to take advantage of those quite yet, but the damage begins to take place from this poking composition, but Kip goes down early as Guangzhou rushes in. We see Frozen pick up a kill with a deflect onto Kersey. Guangzhou keeping up the aggression here, going to be pushing onto the point here as the sound kicks in. Thank you very much to production, getting that ongoing here. Frozen now back trying to find some more picks here, but it looks like the damage is done, and it's going to be a first take for Guangzhou Gangsters.
Yeah, and with Guangzhou running this really brawly, almost six-man variation, they were able to just walk onto the double shielded death cards and brawl into them, getting those early picks and getting the first cap on this point here. Not a lot of ults coming up into this fight, although we do see that Trudonger is probably going to come up on that Cole pretty early, which can be a pretty big game changer on the six-man mirror usually. And against these double shields, definitely can go through it. So we'll see if they're able to use that to their advantage this fight.
Trudonger building up that coalescence very quickly. It's a key ultimate here, but Delphi gets absolutely caught out along with DNA on that Sigma, and those two getting caught out very quickly here. Guangzhou absolutely putting on a clinic. We saw how quick they rotated there.
Yeah, definitely. You were able to use the split sort of hold of Death Cards to their advantage, get an early pick, and Death Cards is just having to reset at this point.
Death Cards with the reset here as Guangzhou right now in control. They have that coalescence up, and you got to figure we've seen them be very aggressive in these situations, not allowing Death Cards to get set up. Death Cards trying to set up here, and they do manage to get the setup here in this double shield composition, but immediately the rush is on, and here comes the coalescence from Trudonger leading the way for the Guangzhou Gangsters. They managed to get the split onto Death Cards here and put a few of them out in isolated spots, and it's going to cost Orsted their life here. Orsted does go down as Cam teleports in looking for a kill. Charybdis, however, is going to blow the Molten Core as the Genji Blade is out. Dragon Blade used by Frozen, going to find Kip, and there goes yet another for Guangzhou, and Guangzhou continues to have, I believe so far, a perfect map. They have not yet dropped a player.
Dang, that's crazy. And Guangzhou, that fight, was playing it really well. They managed to get that really early pick onto Orsted, who had his visor ult up, which took that ult out of the fight and definitely put them at a huge advantage here. But we're coming up on last fight, probably going to see a lot of ults used here. Orsted still has that visor up, and we're getting an early beat.
Touch here. Yeah. Oh no, they do just barely get the touch here. Guangzhou is going to go in very aggressively onto the core here of Death Cards, not even caring that the point is getting flipped. They're just going to go ahead and kill the rest of the team here while they try to get onto the point. We see the death loss now for Cam. Cam not able to connect with any kills there. In fact, they do get killed by Orsted there with the tack visor. Sound barrier now invested by Delphi as they try to draw out this point, but Frozen finds two as Haruhiro chips in, and that is going to be the point flip, and that is going to more than likely be it here as Guangzhou sets to take Sanctum.
Yeah, Death Cards is coming in a pretty good sector here, but with Guangzhou having the high advantage on here, you can't imagine that they'll be able to flip this point back.
No, I can't imagine Courtesy robbing Charybdis of the tel pack there. Unfortunately for them, they're not able to get back to the point, and Guangzhou very much in control there, manages to take Sanctum. Beth, that was kind of a rush clinic being put on here by Guangzhou so far.
It was. Guangzhou looked really clean. They looked like they were all playing together, pushing their advantages when they needed to and backing off when they needed to. Even that time at the end when Death Cards was able to go back and get that cap onto point, Guangzhou was still all of the same mind. They were all still deciding to push up and rush onto targets and save the point for later. Instead of, as some Harmony tier teams do, at least I do sometimes, splitting off and wanting to defend the point. So you can see that they're playing a really organized game. Here we're running a Ball Sigma into a Brawl. Guangzhou back on that sort of rushy Brawl comp that they seemed to favor last map. Oh, never mind. Death Card swapped over to a Brawl too. So Brawl, Mirror, Sim, May, standard Brawl.
Here we go. First to the point is going to be, well, both teams. They both get to the point at roughly the same time. Looks like Guangzhou with a slight advantage. Wall comes in here from both sides. It looks like Guangzhou with a much better wall here, able to split apart the Death Cards, and Frozen takes down Kersey. Frozen now with a full damage beam is beginning to carve through the Death Cards here, and Tyler picks up a couple with a huge fire strike there, and that is just yet another take here for the Guangzhou Gangsters.
Guangzhou's looking very clean, very disciplined. You can see why they were the championship team last year, and it looks like they're wanting to continue their reign here. Tyler almost up to his first shatter of the match, and we're only a couple of seconds, almost a minute in at this point.
Couple minutes in, and right now we see the changeover for Charybdis going to the Far Mercy here, trying to really put a counter onto this Brawl composition here, trying to get some angles with this Ball Diva. This could very easily be beneficial for the Death Cards here if they manage to split apart Guangzhou. Guangzhou's got to stay disciplined here for sure. Here comes Charybdis looking for that damage, that splash damage into this Brawl composition, so far being well defended here by a combination of Haruhiro and Tyler. Get Charybdis right now trying to find any opportunity to get damage, and they cannot. And we see the rush now onto the core here of that Death Cards team from Guangzhou, and despite that Pharah, they're not really afraid of that, and they just kind of pick apart their core, and that's really fantastic Brawl play.
Honestly, though, they were able to move onto that core, not take too much damage, play around the Pharah really well, and win this fight. I think that Death Card still has a chance here if they're able to get some good picks, get some good damage in from Charybdis, but this point is so bunkery, it might be kind of tough for them to do a retake against such a heavy brawl that Guangzhou is running.
We see now Guangzhou taking the high ground here, trying to get on that core very early. We see the core kind of setting up at the top, the D.Va with the Ana. That's going to be a big target for this brawl composition. The D.Va and the Ana show themselves here. Let's see if the brawl goes in on them. They don't. Instead, they're going to fall back to the point, defend off Orsted here. Orsted goes for the stick, not able to connect with anything, and then forced out here by Haruhiro on the D.Va. Amplification Matrix and Sound Barrier now in. Both Guangzhou supports using their ultimates here to stabilize the Guangzhou Gangsters as they start to push this towards overtime. D.Va Bomb in from Haruhiro, not able to connect with anything. We see this now the barrage comes in from Charybdis, but not able to connect with absolutely anything there. D.Va Bomb now in from DNA, does not connect either. And that's just a lot of blue in the kill feed right now, which means it's all Guangzhou as they set to take Nepal here and go up 1-0 in this match.
Guangzhou's just looking so clean and so disciplined on the brawl here. Honestly, every single player on this team was playing so well. It's hard to call out one in particular. We see Frozen here with that big, I'm assuming the Genji Blade is his play of the game. Just really solid play all around from all of these teams. But it'll be interesting to see what map that Death Cards chooses next. It looks like they're having a little bit of struggle into the Brawl Mirror, so I wouldn't be surprised if they pick something a little more divey or ball-focused or something like that for the next map. But
Definitely got to change things up. That much I can tell here, because it has been certainly a rough start for the Guangzhou Gangsters here. I'm sorry, for the Death Cards here against Guangzhou Gangsters. They got to mix it up for sure. Come out with something a little bit different here going into map 2. You got to figure something, got to change for sure. Death Cards will have the map choice going into the next round here. Of course, there's 3 maps to choose from: Temple of Anubis, Hanamura, and Volskaya. So not a lot of options here. It's been the same 2 CP maps for about the past 2.5 calendar years. Not that anybody's counting or anything.
sometimes I just wish they would throw Paris and Horizon back in just so we'd have something new to strat plan for. But you know, Overwatch 2 is coming, so we'll have all sorts of new maps that we can work with.
Literally anything, honestly. Just all I gotta say is just give me anything at this point. Perhaps I'm a little bit jaded, and I feel like justifiably so, but you know, that's just where I'm at here. Looks like the map just got chosen. It is Volskaya, but while we're loading into the match, I feel like it's important to mention, those of you who aren't aware, if you really want to support these teams, now is one of the best times to do so in Tranquility. You can support not only the teams by wearing their logos, but you can also support Tranquility by picking up a shirt or a jersey or a sweatshirt or a coffee mug or a water bottle or so many different things from the Tranquility store right now. That's right, you can go to the Tranquility store, exclamation point store in Tranquility. I'm sorry, exclamation point store in the chat. You can go to the store right now. It's 15% off everything. Go ahead, get on there right now. Pick up your merch to support Tranquility and to support your favorite teams. Now is the best time. That sale runs through, I believe, Monday. So get it done sooner rather than later. You will not regret it. Very high quality stuff, I gotta say. Got some good stuff from there myself. Taking a quick look as well, we'll be able to update some of the matches that are going on out there as well. We do see some live scoring kind of starting to come in here. Looks like Decapitators are up 2-0 on Reckless Sigma. And looks like Palm Beach Poggers is up 1-0 over Krabby Crabbers. So a couple of results starting to come in. We'll be keeping a close eye on things as things go on. But Beth, we're off to Volskaya here.
Yeah, which I think is honestly a good choice by Death Cards. Granted, you can try to run a little bit more of a brawl on this map, but I feel like most teams tend towards the Ball Sigma, the Double Shield, the Pharah comps here. So seeing what Death Cards was going to as their comfort picks on the last couple of maps, I can't help but think that this will tend to play into their favor a little bit more.
Absolutely. I definitely feel the same way here. I would like to see Death Cards come out. I think the Pharah is a good play here. I would like to see something like that. The Far Mercy Ball definitely put a little bit more pressure on Guangzhou here with all those open areas. Guangzhou, I mean, let's face it, Epizeuxis was well known for running Rush on basically every map that they could. In fact, they ran it, I believe, on Watchpoint Gibraltar in the finals, which is basically unheard of. I can't recall a time that anybody has run Brawl successfully on
I think
Watchpoint
Havoc
Gibraltar.
Season 2 ran Brawl successfully.
Maybe, I guess if you call Goats Brawl, like, I guess you could call it that. But, like, that's, like, the only instance that I can think of where we ever decided, you know, hey, let's run a Brawl let's run Brawl on this map and see how it works out. So Guangzhou loves their rush, and that's what they're going to be coming out with here. It looks like we see that rush composition again with the six-man composition. Tyler, Cam, Haruhiro, Frozen, Truedonger, and Slides. Worth noting, Cam now on the tank. Haruhiro moving over to the Reaper. So small change in the setup for Guangzhou. We see looks like a little bit of just kind of a more standard dive composition here from the Death Cards with Delphi on the Brigida. So a little bit of a change there, but an immediate aggressive play here from Guangzhou. And we talked about this aggression, and it pays off with a kill on Kurzi, but Truedonger does go down, and now they've lost a major source of healing.
Yeah, and without that sustain, they're probably not going to be able to do as well here. That said, Haruhiro gets a pick off onto Orsted as well, forcing Death Cards back to spawn likely.
Yeah, Death Cards are going to still, looks like they're going to try to push in and take advantage of the situation with only one healer in play, as we see Truedonger barely or just still out of range here. Charybdis gets dove on aggressively by Tyler. Tyler not even slightly afraid here, but Sly does get caught here by DNA, so losing another healer for the Guangzhou Gangsters definitely going to hurt them. Delphi finds the kill onto Tyler here. Cam gets demeched as well, and there goes Haruhiro. So you lose a couple of supports, and we just see Death Cards manage to get really one of their first successful fights of the night tonight, but it comes at really a great time in the time bank.
Yeah, Death Cards made a fantastic decision there to push their advantage when I believe the Moira is still down, and then DNA cleaning up with that kill onto the Lucio just really enabled them to take this point here. So moving into point 2 here, it looks like Death Cards is coming up on all 6 ultimates, while the Guangzhou Gangsters are only holding it like 2.5-ish. For the next fight. So if Death Cards can get a couple of good ults off here, they could very well cap with a lot of time in the bank.
Key to watch here is the EMP. EMP comes out, only catches a couple of the Death Cards here. There's not going to be any follow-up on it. Sly does have the sound barrier here to help stabilize out for Guangzhou. They get the sound barrier in as the Dragon Strike comes through, not able to find any kills. DNA with the big Diva Bomb, not able to connect with anything. Haruhiro finds themselves back in the spawn room at the hand of Orsted there. Tyler, nonetheless, with the Primal Rage, is going to take down Delphi, as Orsted right now trying to continue to push Death Cards to some point progress here. Orsted with the big pickoff onto Sly here. And we see Coalescence now from Truedonger trying to reverse the trend here. Haruhiro finds Orsted, and the kills start to go in the favor of Guangzhou Gangsters. They're going to let up a tick, but it looks like Guangzhou is going to manage to hold on here.
2CP can be so difficult like this because Death Cards looked so much like they were going to win that fight, but with the close spawns that the Guangzhou Gangsters had on defense, they were able to hold it for another. That said, a tick isn't nothing, especially on Volskaya point B defense, so I'm sure that they're going to be hoping to get more here since they still have 4 minutes and 17 seconds in the time bank, but that was a really good first push for them onto point B.
Guangzhou very much Death Cards very much making progress here on this point as Guangzhou dives right in to the Death Cards as they try to take that high ground. Guangzhou kind of putting on an aggression clinic here tonight. It's really been a fantastic job from them playing aggressively, and they continue to do so. They're not letting Death Cards set up. Haruhiro goes aggressively in with that Death Blossom. Gonna get slept in defense matrix out of it, but the aggression continues. Haruhiro perhaps on a suicide mission there. Nonetheless, still gonna get the kill done. And despite, in what many may look at that and say that's feeding, but it kind of paid off because it put the Death Cards completely on their heels.
That said, Death Cards took a completely dry fight there, so they're coming off on a whole lot of ults again. Guangzhou Gangsters only really used the Reaper ult there, but it looks like, Tyler gets pretty low there.
He's up. But I mean, that's a lot of healing right there for Truedonger. Truedonger getting really close to yet another Coalescence, as Sly also has that sound barrier here. Tyler using the taunt to get a view around the corner, but gets stunned out right at the very end there. EMP comes in, only finds 2 once again as the Dragon Strike rolls through from Charybdis. Here comes the bomb in from Cam, not able to connect with anybody here as Tyler pops the Primal Rage, looking to go ham here on the Death Cards and shuffle them around just a little bit. Orsted unable to draw the wild card on that one, and as he goes unable to find a stick yet again You see the Biotic Grenade come in from Kip, and it's a good one. Finds both Tyler and Haruhiro, but there's no follow-up in from the Death Cards as of yet, as the Guangzhou Gangsters now on the backs of Haruhiro start getting some kills in the kill feed. Tyler finds the Ana, not letting them get cozy on that high ground there. Brought down to 43 HP again. It's perfectly fine. 43 is more than 0, right?
Yeah, it's better than nothing.
Exactly.
Yeah. That said, Death Cards did use a lot of ultimates in that fight. For a second there, when I thought they were going to just do another dry fight, try to get a bunch of ults out from the Guangzhou Gangsters, who used basically all of theirs right off the bat. But coming in here, it looks like we're coming up on another EMP Blossom for the Guangzhou Gangsters. Death Cards have their Nano, which could be a really great initiating ultimate for them. So hopefully we can see whether they can get some more progress here, get another tick, as they were going into what could be like maybe second to third last fight.
Here goes Kierzy in, looking for that nano boost, gets the nano boost, trying to find the Lucio, but is going to get zoned away here by the D.Va. Not able to get a lot of damage in quite yet, being booped away. Really well defended by the Guangzhou Gangsters as Tyler finishes off Kierzy. That is a textbook way of absorbing and handling that nano Winston, which could be winning on its own.
Yeah, Haruhiro has been an absolute menace on this Reaper this entire time, too. He's been in the kill feed repeatedly. I would not have guessed that he was a flex to tank player if you hadn't mentioned it at the beginning of the map, but he's really doing a good job of staving off the aggression of Death Cards.
Absolutely, no doubt about that. Here we go with the next fight for the Death Cards. 1 minute left here. Huge EMP though. No waiting from the Guangzhou Gangsters, and here comes the Death Blossom as Haruhiro lights up the Death Cards. And again, the aggression of the Guangzhou Gangsters is just too much for the Death Cards, and with 50 seconds left, Death Cards are on their very last draw.
Yeah, and Guangzhou Gangsters definitely has a bit of an ult advantage coming into this fight. If DNA is able to build up a bomb and get a really good one off, they could be able to flip this around, but it looks like Guangzhou Gangsters are in a pretty good position as we come into final fight here.
Here we go now, Death Cards setting up for their final push in with that Primal Rage and the D.Va Bomb. Guangzhou Gangsters with just a bevy of check marks in their feed here, but here we go. Coalescence now in. We see D.Va Bomb invested, or sorry, not D.Va Bomb, pardon me, that's a Primal Rage in from Tyler. Cam right now as well in the fracas for the Guangzhou Gangsters. And once again, Guangzhou absolutely in control as DNA finds themselves in the bottom of Volskaya. And my goodness, Guangzhou absolutely in control and dominant here. D.Va Bomb in for the celebration. Here comes, again, the touch from Death Cards at the last second. Delphi is not able to get anything done. Primal Rage from Kierzy. From the heavens comes Kierzy, trying to draw this thing out just a little bit longer for the Death Cards. They managed to get a point. EMP in as well from Frozen. Here comes the bomb from DNA, not able to connect with anything. The continued delay here from Death Cards as they try to find a way to rally through this. Nonetheless, it's just going to be too much Guangzhou, as Guangzhou will remain in control. And 44% on point 2 for Death Cards. Guangzhou with an opportunity to take this map.
Which, if Death Cards ends up playing this defense the same way that they played the first half of this map, it could be enough to secure them the map, even though they didn't get a full cap in. They definitely looked like they caught Guangzhou on their heels at the first part. They played their angles perfectly. They played very patiently. They were able to get the picks they needed in order to cap. That said, towards the end of this map, you got to hand a little momentum onto the Guangzhou Gangsters. They were definitely looking more true to their map 1 form as they just put on a clinic in how to run the rush comp. So it'll be interesting to see if Death Cards puts anything out on the defense here, or whether it's just another rush mirror. Again, we talked earlier about like Ball, Sigma, Farah, about that potentially playing to their strengths, but it'll be interesting to see what they roll out on.
Death Cards got a Guangzhou, again, going to that rush composition. It's worked out so well for them. And Death Cards going to come out on the Wrecking Ball composition here. So Death Cards now have a tall task of stemming the bleeding here. Going down 2-0 into halftime to Guangzhou is not the position they want to be in right now. You have to imagine Guangzhou is very much in control of the tempo of this match.
Yeah,
so
but if... Oh, I was going to say, if Death Cards is able to play their hand right, play their cards right, and just use their kill boxes and the chokes to their advantages, they could be a potentially pretty good matchup into the rush comp, since the rush tends to want to stay bunched up and going in one direction. So Death Cards has a little bit of a comp advantage here, in my opinion.
Absolutely, certainly could. Death Cards has an opportunity here to do some damage on defense. We see the rush composition grouped up, pushing through that low ground here, wrapping around to the high ground. Very common rotation here for the rush composition as Death Cards look to set up here. Biotic Grenade in from Kip, but Kip instead, all they find with that Biotic Grenade is unfortunately themselves in the kill feed. Sly in the kill feed as well, but despite losing that healer here, it's just Guangzhou again with just the kills streaming through one by one for the Death Cards, and Guangzhou in control will get this first cap with a very handsome time bank.
Yeah, Kip there just had the slightest, too slow of a rotation, wasn't able to escape the fast rush of the Guangzhou Gangsters. That said, even though it wasn't a full cap, we're coming on to a 44% for Death Cards. If they're able to hold it here, there's still a chance that they could win it. Doesn't look like we really have any ults coming into this fight other than maybe a Coalescence, so it'll be interesting to see how they end up playing this.
Absolutely. Death Cards right now need to find a way to scramble up in this here. Watching closely to see Truedonger if they can get that Coalescence up. Death Cards basically haven't lost a fight when they've had that Coalescence in hand here. Slam in from Percy, not able to get any isolation out here onto a Guangzhou player to get that kill. Charybdis does hold that copy here, Orsed with the Pulse Bomb as well. So ultimates are in hand for Death Cards here to make an impact. Here comes the Primal, or here comes the Winston right now for the Guangzhou Gangsters, but what an EMP for Frozen. Gonna get both supports immediately off the field for the Death Cards here, and it's just Guangzhou absolutely putting a whooping to the Death Cards here, and pretty much no matter what Death Cards seem to do, it's just all Guangzhou Gangsters right now. And that is Guangzhou now up 2-0 going into halftime.
Man, Guangzhou just looks so clean right now. They're all playing so well, but yeah, gotta give a shout out to Haruhiro here. Name was in the kill feed multiple times, just absolutely putting a clinic on how to play Reaper in this comp. Absolutely delightful to watch, honestly.
Haruhiro right now, you know, I often heard from last season with Epizeuxis with Haruhiro on that team, that was the one player that they consistently said, guys, why is nobody talking about Haruhiro? Everybody praises Frozen, everybody praises Cam, you know, obviously fantastic players on that team, but for some reason, nobody talks about just how talented Haruhiro is. I think we might be looking at an absolute breakout season for Haruhiro right now, especially if they play like they are tonight all season. Maybe not even breakout. Maybe we just talk MVP for Haruhiro right now. Perhaps I'm talking too quick. I know QZ's going to rip
one.
Perhaps QZ's going to rip me a new one for complimenting Guangzhou that much. But you know what? I'm going there. I'm going there already, folks. Beth, we are going to halftime now. We got 10 minutes, and we'll see you just after that. 2-0 Guangzhou Gangsters. Welcome back, everybody. Guangzhou Gangsters up 2-0 over Death Cards right now in this Transcendence tier feature match here in week 1 of season 9. Beth, it has been Guangzhou all night tonight so far. Absolutely fantastic brawl. I'm sorry, absolutely fantastic rush play, I should say, from them so far. Death Cards, they got to come out with a different look because what they're doing just hasn't been working.
They definitely do. They have had some moments where they've looked really good. Their first point Volskaya attack looked really good. They have it in them. We just want to see them bring it together for these next couple of maps. And if nothing else, halftime can be a really good time for teams to sit down, reset their mental, talk about strategy, and see how they can go moving forward. That said, we are moving into King's Row, which does favor kind of a brawl rush comp sometimes. So I would assume that Guangzhou would continue running what's working for them, but I feel like the Rhine mirror is just so commonly seen on this map that it'd be interesting to see if they throw that in instead.
The Rhine mirror, absolutely possible here. Or alternatively, we could just see Guangzhou ride that 6-man train that they've been riding very successfully so far here. So far, it's been a fantastic match for Guangzhou so far. We'll see if they can finish off the Death Cards here now and go up 3-0 and lock in the dub, or if Death Cards can start the beep beep of the reverse sweep. But that is up to them here. We have, again, a lot of matches going on today. Just to quickly cover a couple of those as I close the window that had the scores on them. Very intelligent move by me, but nonetheless, 4-0 Decapitators over Reckless Sigma. That score is in the books here. It looks like Frost Fissure has locked in the win, up 3-0 over Oath as well. And Amnesia picked up a forfeit win here over Arctic Foxes, so Amnesia will start off with a 4-0 this season as well. Taking a quick look too as well, Krabby Crabbers, Palm Beach Poggers are locked in a 1-1 tie right now as they go to map 3. So a couple of great scores out there. We'll be keeping an eye on things as things go on here in week 1 in the Transcendence tier. But for Guangzhou right now, the question is can they finish it off here? They come out on the brawl composition. Death Card says, don't mind if we do, Beth.
Absolutely. So it looks like we're going to be seeing the Rhine mirror that we talked about. Guangzhou's style of play with a 6-man probably will lend itself pretty well to this brawl mirror. That said, Death Cards has shown a couple of interesting looks. We haven't seen really a true brawl mirror out of either of these teams yet, so it'll be interesting to see both teams running a stock standard May Cassidy brawl into each other. So no surprises, no tricks, just some good clean brawly Overwatch coming up here.
Good, clean, fun in the making here. Guangzhou Gangsters looking to close it out as the brawl will commence. The wrap around the statue in from Death Cards now. Looking for Maywalls here from both parties to split up the opponent teams here. Maywall now in. Cam gets a great one here as Cam splits up the Death Cards. Sly on the high ground here, keeping the heels pumping through as they look over this crazy brawl. Kersey is dropped the first to fall as Cam takes them down. Immortality Field invested as well as the Death Cards will try to peel out here. Guangzhou will chase them all the way back around the bus, and Guangzhou with a great start.
Yeah, Guangzhou looking really, really good here. Already coming up on a Shatter, a Window, and a High Noon to the Window High Noon of Death Cards. Death Cards played that really well. That just perfect wall by Cam kept him split up, stopped him from pressing in here, but...
Frozen picks up the first kill. The Amplification Matrix now in from Kip, but it's going to be walled away here by Cam, and an Earth Shatter now from Tyler. Doesn't connect with anybody, but the Blizzard is massive from Cam. Cam switching over to the DPS role for this match, and is absolutely doing some work as Cam and Frozen do the job to Death Cards. And Death Cards, they do hang on to a couple ultimates coming back. Guangzhou invested pretty big there.
Yeah, and with Tyler getting picked off pretty late in that fight, if Death Cards plays it fast, they may be able to catch him on his back heel, but it looks like they're planning on playing patient, and Tyler's already back, so we're going to see a full 6-on-6 fight here coming up.
Here we go. Deadeye now invested by both Cassidy's. Frozen will come out on top here. Sound Barrier invested now by Delphi as well. Matched by Sly from the Guangzhou Gangsters. And Kip goes down, Tyler down as well. I'm sorry, Tyler doing the work here, taking down Kersey and Orsted. And Death Cards again sent back to the spawn room. Guangzhou are just firmly in control here.
Yeah, they're just looking so good and so comfortable on this Brawl comp. And oh no, they're staggering poor DNA out too, which will set Death Cards back even more coming into this fight.
DNA is going to be staggered out here. No Diva now for them. And Orsted finds a kill onto Frozen. Now evening the score here just a little bit. DNA is going to shift over, switch between tanks, lose that ultimate shard, but most importantly, get back onto the Diva here. The rush now in. Great Maywall from Charybdis with a Earth Shatter. Going to be blocked out here by Tyler. Cam did get a Blizzard in there, but Haruhiro hits a bomb, connects with two. But the kills right now are going slightly in the favor of the Death Cards here. Orsted picks up a couple. Frozen right now trying to find a way to get Guangzhou back in. It's going to get the D-Mech onto DNA here. Haruhiro as well still in the fight, but it looks like they are both gone now, as Death Cards will manage to hang on here, and they will take point A and start moving this thing down the streets.
Yeah, definitely. Using their attacker's advantage, able to get just a couple of picks that they needed. That last fight there, Frozen was out all the way up until the very end, so they were able to take that 5-on-6 and get the first cap here. That said, Guangzhou is still going to be able to hold arches here, which is going to be a great spot for them to hold. So we'll see what Death Cards does in order to push it past this really tough choke.
Right now, we got dueling Cassidy's, dueling Baptiste here, both sitting on their ultimates. Deadeye from both at basically the same time here. Will anybody be able to capitalize on it? Ooh. Yes, they will, as Frozen finds 3. Frozen with a fantastic 4K there, and is going to end up securing that one so quickly for Guangzhou Gangsters.
That was a beautiful coordinated play between Frozen and Tyler, too. Tyler with the charge, preventing Death Cards from holding that angle or those defenses the way they wanted to, and just able to clean up enough space for Frozen to get that huge ult up.
Look at this aggressive hold from the Guangzhou Gangsters, pushing in all the way to the spawn doors. Death Cards are going to be able to hold. What is this Earth Shatter? Tyler, what are you doing? He Earth Shatters the spawn room in crazy, crazy move right there from the Guangzhou Gangsters all the way to the spawn room. I think Beth might have just lost connection, unfortunately, so right now I'm running solo, but here we go. Frozen right now tries to answer, Kersey right now trying to answer with an Earth Shatter of their own. Tyler managed to take down Kersey. Here comes the Sound Barrier in from Sly. Crazy engagement right now taking place at the spawn doors, and Guangzhou somehow, despite the proximity to the Death Card spawn, just absolutely dominant right now.
This aggression on any team that was less coordinated than the Guangzhou Gangsters are could be punished heavily by the Death Cards, but Guangzhou is just so used to playing this sort of manic, aggressive brawl that they're able to get those close holds off. That said, with the loss of a couple of key players, they are having to drop back to second corner here as Death Cards is able to get some push onto the cart.
Right now, Death Cards trying to get some push here on the cart. They get it pushed forward just a little bit, but Cam is going to get a big Blizzard in. We see the Diva Bomb in, going to be negated by Truedonger here with that Immortality Field. Sly finds a kill onto Charybdis, however, as Orsted right now is taken down. Haruhiro gets in there as well, also going to be dropped. The kill feed right now looks to be very favorable right now for the Death Cards here, as they're going to finally get some more momentum here as they try to kick it around the streets of Kings Row. And it does look like the stall game is on for Guangzhou, so they're trying to rally back, get their team back from spawn here. So Guangzhou will have another fight, it looks like that.
Yeah, and Death Cards is coming up on a couple of really key ultimates here, moving up into the last fight. They're looking a lot more coordinated on this brawl than we've seen them all night. They're looking like they're finally hitting their stride. It's been awesome to watch. We'll see if Guangzhou Gangsters is very likely going to get a last touch here, so we'll see what Death Cards does to answer what's likely going to be a pretty aggressive play coming out of them.
Death Cards right now going to pop the Deadeye from Orsted here. Cassidy rounding the corner with that speed. Not able to find any connections here. The Diva Bomb now in as well from Haruhiro. Not able to find a connection. Sound Barrier as well. Ultimates coming out from both sides as we look at Kip right now trying to keep their team afloat. But it looks like the Death Cards are slowly starting to fall here. Frozen gets the pick on a DNA, and Frozen right now using that revolver very effectively here, trying to find those final kills to close this thing out for Guangzhou. Charybdis with the last-ditch effort, going to be dropped by Frozen as well. Haruhiro knocking the Baptiste off the high ground. Baptiste frozen out, and the Death Cards will fall just before the Foundry here in Kings Row, and they get 1 point moving forward here with Guangzhou Gangsters looking to seal the match.
That said, it's gonna be a tough fight coming out of Death Cards here. It looks like they, during the halftime, were able to re-coordinate, hit their stride, start working together a little bit better. They're looking a lot better this match, so I wouldn't be surprised if they're able to keep that rolling here as we head onto onto their defense.
Right, Death Cards absolutely looking for a stronghold here. They are gonna need to try to stem the bleeding just a little bit. Guangzhou in control of their destiny with the opportunity to finish this one off here on Kings Row. Lock down that 1-0 start. Stay undefeated in their time in Tranquility. That's right. Guangzhou, formerly Epizeuxis, has never lost in Tranquility, and they don't look ready to lose here today. It's been an impressive run for them so far, Beth, and right now you got to think all the cards are in their favor. Pun not really intended, but it's funny how things work out, I guess.
Yeah, it's Guangzhou's map to lose at this point. Death Cards does have the opportunity to hold them here. If Guangzhou runs out on this, I will say that it's a very different look than anything I've seen on Kings Row before. Then again, I've also been debated by people many times in the spawn room, so if they are running out on this, very picky comp into a very sort of stacked brawl comp, so it'll be interesting to see what they do in order to give Death Cards a different look on this.
Death Cards gonna come out and Frozen finds Delphi's head immediately, so the different look here from Guangzhou coming out with a non-rush composition for really the first time so far, as Cam is now on the far mercy. Cam doing some work here to the Death Cards, forcing them back, and Death Cards really off the one pick from Frozen pretty much have given up on this point.
Well, without their speed in order to be able to engage and disengage easily, it makes it really tough for them to take a fight.
What a biotic grenade from Truedonger on that high ground. Death Cards had to really stop right there as Cam on this Pharah is doing a ton of damage here, boosted up by Sly on the Mercy. Cam sitting very close to that barrage already. Cam picked up 4, I believe, that fight. And Cam, the Season 8 Transcendence tier MVP, who played tank primarily last season, now on the DPS, just showing the skill and versatility that they have and they are bringing to this Guangzhou Gangsters squad so far here in Season 9. An impressive performance from Cam.
Yeah, and it doesn't look like we're seeing any changes to switch from Death Cards other than putting Charybdis over onto the Sombra pick, which is an interesting pick, probably trying to counter that ball coming in and trying to get value by displacing the team. Hopefully this was just an instance where they were caught on their back foot. They're probably trying to regroup and see what they can do into this sort of odd look from Guangzhou, who's been running Rush all night and then just decided to switch to a pick comp.
Mix it up a little bit here. Come up with something a little bit different. Guangzhou now with Frozen overlooking. Finds Delphi again. Cannot get Delphi out of those crosshairs. Almost gets another pick onto Orsted, but Orsted manages to find cover just beforehand. Right now, Infrasight pop for Frozen. Cam gets stunned out of that barrage, but they do find Orsted before they do. Cam continuing to rain down pressure from above here on the far mercy as Haruhiro starts up the meat grinder as he goes whole hog all over the Death Cards. And Guangzhou looks to just finish this off here. Not much time left. Hail Mary hook not connecting, but Beth, I don't know if they have... Oh, here comes it. Never mind. Recontest in.
Yeah, maybe just enough of a recontest for the rest of the team to get there and get the last contest here. You can see Guangzhou just using their advantage so perfectly, pressing those advantages, using their aggression, and unfortunately not able to touch. And Guangzhou Gangsters takes the match 3-0. We still have one more map that we're going to for map differential's sake. So Death Card still has a chance at vengeance here against the Guangzhou Gangsters.
Guangzhou firmly in control of this match, 3-0. Absolute statement game from Guangzhou here, showing despite the name change, this is the same old domination that we saw last season in Tranquility. Not domination the team, but domination as a result for Guangzhou as they continue to push through and take control of this matchup. Beth, it has been an absolutely impressive performance for Guangzhou tonight. Death Cards now, they've had flashes of those moments, and they really got to show something now as they go to the next map.
Definitely. It'll be interesting to see kind of what they've done here. One thing I do have to commend Death Cards for is their mental through this. They haven't shown any signs of breaking and folding. Many lesser teams would, but they've been able to hold it together and keep putting up a good fight. But that said, it will be interesting to see what map we end up going to for map 4 and kind of what we end up seeing out of both of these teams. Guangzhou, before the end of the last map, I would have said we were likely going to see something rushy, something brawly out of them, but now they've shown that they can run a kind of scramble pick comp just as well as they can run a brawl comp. So it'll be interesting to see what these teams pull out as we head to Junkertown.
Junkertown is the map choice here for the Death Cards, mixing it up, trying something different here for this final map. I would say to try to take Guangzhou off of their comfort with the rush composition, but I don't think I can say that anymore after what I just witnessed on that last match. Either way, a couple score updates. Again, we already covered Decapitators winning 4-0 over Reckless Sigma. Frost Fissure picks up the 4-0 win over Oath as well. We did see Palm Beach Poggers. They're now down 2-1. Krabby Crabbers is winning the third map there, so Krabby Crabbers are in a strong position in that matchup as well. Keeping a close eye on those matchups out there, guys. Lots of good ones out there so far. Classified as well is going to pick up their first win tonight. They picked up their win over Culture, taking 3-1 in their debut match up against Culture here tonight. So both teams made their debut, and Classified will come out on top. So lots of exciting matchups here in the Transcendence tier as the standings begin to take the early shape in this 18-team tier this season. Beth, any particular surprises so far, or are you just things going as you'd expect?
I'll be perfectly honest, I have not followed Transcendence tier that closely in seasons past, so I'm not entirely sure what to expect this season. I'm not entirely sure which of these is an upset or which of these is expected. But that said, I'm looking forward to being able to watch more and hopefully cast more as the season goes on and really get a feel for these teams and have more of an opinion. But right now, not so much.
And she's a Trank admin, folks. My gosh.
I'm barely an admin. You know it.
Yeah, no, I'm just kidding. Anyways, guys, it's been a great matchup for your Guangzhou Gangsters with the statement win so far tonight. Death Cards looking to rally back, pick up a final map here for map differential purposes. So Guangzhou has the opportunity here to get that 4-0 sweep against an impressive Death Cards team as we again head to Junkertown. As a reminder, folks, just in case you are looking, 15% off right now in the Tranquility store. You can pick up awesome merch to support teams, much like I do here with this Fighting Potatoes shirt. If you're looking to pick up some merch right now, !store in the chat, 15% off through Monday. Get those orders in right now. Now is the best time to support Tranquility and support your favorite team. All right, I think we are just about to get ready to go here. Looks like we got somebody AFK. I mean, Beth, I have to say, so we're both used to playing Harmony tier. Are you like me when you see Transcendence here going on and be like, gosh, why can't I play like them?
Oh, 100%. And I know that half the reason I can't is because I feed my brains out.
Yeah. I mean, half of Rush is just coordinated feeding, right? I mean, that's basically what it is. Although I'm sure I have many, many Masters players sitting in chat right now going, what is this guy talking about?
Well, actually.
Yeah. Excuse me, sir. That's not how Rush works. I've been coaching for years, and I can tell you, I wrote a thesis about it. That's not how Rush works, okay?
Okay, if somebody has written a thesis on how Rush works, please send it to me. I'm always looking for some light reading. That sounds really interesting.
Some nice bathroom reading there for sure. I would have to say. I would have to say for sure. I would definitely agree with that. Looks like we still have a couple people working their way back in, Beth. It's been an entertaining match, though, and for the people who are watching this who are of lower skill level, perhaps, it's a great way to learn. I mean, we're seeing kind of that Rush composition here. It tends to be a favorite of a lot of teams, especially in Tranquility. It seems like Rush is always a hot composition for people to run. We're kind of seeing that performed at the highest level in this matchup here by Guangzhou.
Absolutely. Like, I'm going to go back and VOD this for my own play and my own maps coming up. Guangzhou is just running this so cleanly and so coordinated, with so much coordination. They're able to rely on their own individual skill set, but they don't have to, because they're just playing in such a way that they are able to work as a team and really just put on a clinic, I've already said, as on how to play this. That said, we're seeing them run out on another one of these little pick comps that we saw at the end of King's Row, which I am excited for. That was some fun Overwatch to watch.
That indeed was some fun Overwatch. No question. I agree with you on that one here. Death Card's bringing out the double shield with the Widowmaker. We are going to get a Widowmaker duel between Frozen from Guangzhou Gangsters, and we're going to see Orsted, again, Season 1 Tranquility MVP Orsted. Also, Season 1 Overwatch Tranquility Widowmaker 1v1 champion. So Orsted, that was 4.5 years ago at this point. Is he washed? The questions will be answered here now as they go head-to-head up against Frozen, as we're going to get the Widowmaker duel here. And let's see which Widow will come out on top. Frozen early on, going to be taking the back seat a little bit here, searching for the other Widowmaker's head. Orsted looking around, trying to pick off that Widow. They're screaming in their comms right now, Beth. Where's the Widow? Where's the Widow? We've all seen this before. We see, Orsted tried to go, Frozen tried to go up and over the top, not able to find Orsted. That was very close, as Cam's going to get the pick onto Charybdis. Orsted looking to find those picks. Frozen and Orsted they're both looking for each other, but neither seems to want to find the other, as both are playing incredibly conservative. Slam out of the high ground here from Tyler, being fended off here by the Sigma on the high ground here. Again, Cam now on that DPS roll again. They're mixing up these compositions as a power hero on the Roadhog, having some fun on a Roadhog, I guess you could say. Kersey on the Orisa here, applying some pressure to the support for Guangzhou. They will peel back here, sitting with that Bongo in hand. They're gonna set it up. You gotta figure soon. There it is, Bongo in play. Haru Hero now pushing aggressively. Huge biotic grenades from Truedonger, and the Nano Boost as well is going to get onto Cam as Sly. They pop the Valkyrie, but Sly's just going to go aggressive, and that kind of happened real quick.
That did happen really quick, and I think you've really got to hand it to Kersey's Bongo there, really helping to turn the fight in the favor of Death Cards. Even with that huge purple, and even with Guangzhou pushing a pretty good advantage there, Death Cards was able to really use that extra damage in order to get the picks they needed to press it here to the end of point one.
Point one already taken here by Death Cards. Orsted, again, Widowmaker still in play here. Frozen switching over to the Genji, so a different look now from Guangzhou with the Genji, as one does play. Genji and Roadhog, very high level of synergy there. But hey, here we are.
Pick comp. It's called pick comp.
We'll call it pick comp. That's what we're calling it. Yes. Orsted finds the pick onto Cam. Cam's gonna get the res here, but Frozen is gonna help lead the charge here on the Genji. Finds Kip with the fadeaway shuriken there, and Guangzhou is gonna send Death Cards back to the spawn.
Yeah, Frozen has been looking really good all night, pulling out this Genji here. He got an initial deflect onto Orsted and was able to get that first pick to make it a 5v6 fight, and then just absolutely cleaned up the rest of the fight there. We see Orsted going off of the Widow now, switching onto the Tracer, probably trying to put a little bit more pressure on the back line, if I had to guess.
Orsted with some friendly greetings for the chat there as they go in here. Tyler with the mines from above in this very tight space for the Death Cards. And those are some fantastic mines. Gonna put Kip back here. Charybdis is gonna find Cam, so the kills are being traded out right now. Losing their flex support, though, was the Death Cards. The DNA is gonna go down at their own hand here. But Charybdis has found a couple right now. Is getting some kills, getting some positive momentum here as they try to push through point B. Orsted getting into the high ground here. not a whole lot. Oh, what a stick onto True Donger there. And the momentum is going to continue to go here as the Death Cards are firmly in control going through the streets.
Yeah, Death Cards have really upped their coordination this map. Charybdis getting some really nice picks there. Kersey holding down the fort in the back line. Coming up onto this fight, we'll see that DNA has his Sigma lift up. If Guangzhou decides to recontest, he'll be able to use that to his advantage trying to move up here.
Charybdis finds 2 more, and Death Cards continue to roll here on Junkertown as Guangzhou unable to really slow down Death Cards right now, finally finding themselves a good hand, it seems. Are the Death Cards, and they're able to push through and continue that cart progression. They take high ground control immediately on this double field composition, and DNA finds Cam with the rock. Here comes the Nano Blade, and Frozen takes the Nano, takes down 2, looking for a third here on Kersey, finds the third. He's going to push this Brigida here as well, gets stunned out. He's going to stay aggressive though onto Delphi. Delphi with several of Guangzhou piling in on them here, and with that Nano Blade, Guangzhou finally able to slow down the Death Cards.
Yeah, Death Cards have lost a little bit of momentum here, but they're coming into this fight with a bunch of ultimates in their back pocket that could easily turn this fight around. Tyler has his mines up, could be a really good point clearing ultimate, but that said, Death Cards has a lot of damage coming their way as we head into this next fight.
Death Cards are in a position now with several ultimates in hand. Death Cards also staring at getting that Dragon Strike up fairly quick here. Charybdis has been very efficient hand so far on this Hanzo. Tyler right now trying to set up for the pile driver. Gets just absolutely obliterated here by the Death Cards, who use that bongo immediately, and they get a huge boon to the damage there. DNA picks up their second kill of the fight as the Death Cards will now take center control here on that high ground. Dragon Strike in from Charybdis, not able to connect with anything. We see the aggression continue to pour in as DNA starts to push Guangzhou hard in this high ground, kind of on a solo push right now, but it's enough to send Guangzhou packing back to spawn as the aggression continues here.
DNA's looking like he's really in his element here on this Sigma, getting lots and lots of picks, really setting up some space for then Charybdis to take out Cam. Looks like Death Cards is going to try to push, but Tyler's bringing his mines out here into this fight.
Tyler brings the proximity mines, and they are very good as they take down Charybdis here. DNA continuing to lead the aggression here. DNA making a standout play, trying to push Guangzhou back into their spawn room. DNA is absolutely doing fantastic right now. Tries to get in that Wrecking Ball space here, but it's finally going to be dropped here after doing so much work on this signal.
Definitely. They don't have much farther to push. They've got enough time for a really good recontest, possibly 2 here as we're moving up. DNA back to that lift coming into this next fight. But it looks like the Guangzhou Gangsters are coming up on another Nano Blade. And we saw how Frozen and True Dong are comboed to get a 4K on the last fight. So it'll be interesting to see how he's able to make use of it coming into this fight.
Here goes Frozen with the Nano Blade. Going to be watching that ultimate closely as Death Cards look to push around. DNA has an ultimate to slow this down here. Will they be able to use it? They will be able to catch Frozen in it. Very well done there by DNA, but it doesn't matter. The damage is done. All the resources go into stopping Frozen, but the rest of the Guangzhou Gangsters will be able to take down the Death Cards here. Orsted gets the kill onto Tyler, but that's the only other kill they're going to see, and Guangzhou back in control.
Yeah, Frozen wasn't in the kill feed as much with that Nano Blade, but definitely that use and the threat that he gave to Death Cards made it so they had to invest a lot of ultimates just into trying to stop him, which led to them losing that fight. Coming into what could be last fight here, we've got a couple of ultimates coming up on both sides. It looks like Orsted's back on the Tracer here as Kersey goes over to the Wrecking Ball, likely for more stall potential.
Kersey on the Wrecking Ball here now, also with potential to really be disruptive into Death Cards, into Guangzhou's Ana specifically here. You got to figure that's got to be part of the plan. But Guangzhou right now, with that several ultimates in hand, we see Dragon Strike in from Charybdis. It's going to put Cam back as Orsted wins the 1v1 there. But Guangzhou Gangsters right now trying to hold off and finish off this defense. DNA is going to finish off Frozen, so DNA switching over to that Diva now finds a second kill. DNA on the off-tank roll for the Death Cards this season. Takes off yet another one here. You see the Diva bomb in from Haruhiro as overtime is now triggered with the mines on point. DNA is very close to the cart. It's going to have to dive into the mines here, and they are going to fall as a result. Haruhiru and Cam are going to put some work in on the card, and that's going to be enough to fend off any further aggression from the Death Cards. They're not able to get the touch, and now Guangzhou looking at getting nearly a full pull in order to get that full cap 4-0.
And beautiful coordination between Tyler and Haruhiro there at the end. Haruhiro throwing his bomb to clear the point, Tyler putting the mines to make it so people couldn't get back on. Just absolutely beautiful play out of them. Also have to give some credit to the Death Cards here, though. They were able to push it almost to the end of point 3 here on Junkertown. They've got a lot more breathing room than they've had on any other point, so they've got a lot more to work with. It'll be interesting to see what they come out on defense. I'm really hoping for another Widow duel. They were kind of like dancing around a little bit on that one, but I love watching a good Widow duel on this map.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it yet again. They really didn't get to do a whole lot on the first round, like you said, but this time it's going to be Cam coming out on the Widowmaker. So Guangzhou mixing it up and again a little bit. You got to figure they're just kind of having fun right now. Tyler switching over to the Roadhog too. So really Guangzhou is just kind of coming out with a different look here each map. It seems like Cam's been playing both off tank, and I think we've seen them kind of play whatever's needed, it seems like, so far for the Guangzhou Gangsters. Haruhiru on DPS and now on tank. Been kind of an interesting little showcase for Guangzhou. Death Cards, however, going to come out with the Widowmaker on the double shield. So we are going to get the Widow duel again, but this time it's Season 8 MVP Cam versus Season 1 Orsted. Season 1 MVP Orsted. This is going to be interesting.
Yeah, definitely. And we see both teams are setting up here. Double shield setting up in their standard spot. Orsted is playing very safe again as he's looking for Cam on that Widowmaker.
Here we go once again with the Widowmaker duel again. MVP versus MVP. About as good as it gets here, but Grimanis is going to find the first kill, taking Frozen down. Orsted looking for that Widowmaker. You got to figure fly with the res onto Frozen. Here comes the dive in from Haruhiro onto the high ground, able to get out before the damage is done. Cam right now getting aggressive on this Widowmaker here, trying to find the angle, but Kersey instead is going to find a couple of kills, and Kersey finishes off a couple for Guangzhou. Guangzhou is going to be sent back. Cam goes for the hook shot, not able to find the dome of Orsted there. So wet aggressive did not connect, but I do get Kersey. Beth, this is kind of an interesting little trade fight here. I'm not really sure what to make of this right now.
This really is, and usually in trade fights this close to the spawn, you'd see that Guangzhou pushing their advantage. It does look like they're getting a good amount of cart push, but it's been some really just odd trading back and forth, lots of staggering, but it looks like Guangzhou might be finally cleaning up this fight.
Yeah, Guangzhou now firmly in control. Cam finds a couple of heads there, and Guangzhou right now is absolutely in control of the matchup. Very, very, very interesting map so far for Guangzhou. Death Cards now pushing back on the attack here. Haruhiro and Sly are going to be going down here, but Cam with the infra sights now gonna find a kill there, and finds another one. Cam finds 2 heads, and that is gonna be enough to keep the cart going. Actually, is Cam the only one left? Cam is the only one left here, so Death Cards are gonna hold up just for a brief period here. Here come the reinforcements, Beth.
Yeah, Death Cards looked like they were in a really good position, had gotten a lot of picks, but then Cam just came in and absolutely cleaned up, getting lots and lots of headshots to secure the first point for Guangzhou.
So Cam so far in the Widowmaker duel 1-0 over Orsted. It's really the only I mean, that's really the only score that matters here, right? I mean, it's just the Widowmaker
It's the only score I care about, Yeti.
Right, exactly. That's the only score I wanted to see. 1-0. Orsted dropping to Cam here in the Widow duel, but the Widow duel will continue here. Cam with the hook shot, not able to find anybody, but here comes the Nano Blade. Frozen says, what about me? I have this sword and I'm going to use it. Finds 2 kills, leading the way onto Kip as well, and that's going to be the end of this fight so quickly for the Death Cards.
Yeah, it's the tough call you got to make when playing against this Frozen Nano Blade with a Mercy pocket, right? Like, do you invest all of these ultimates and cooldowns trying to prevent him from getting any value, or do you just accept it and play for next point? Looks like Death Cards did end up using, I think, the lift in that fight. DNA's already a third of the way back to it at this point, though, but it looks like we're going to get a full fight here for last touch on second.
Touch inbound here for the Death Cards. They'll push out with this bongo, with this amplification matrix. Bongo invested first from Kersey here. Grimanis finds Cam, sends Cam back here. Guangzhou is very much forced out here with all this aggression from the Death Cards. They find 2, and with 1 ultimate, they will be able to take this one here. Actually, 2 ultimates, pardon me.
Yep. So nice stabilization from them. They've got 3 minutes to keep holding here. It's a lot tougher to push the farther towards the end of point you get. And Death Cards does have a couple of really good ultimates to hold here with the window from Kip and the dragons from Charybdis. Guangzhou's coming up on a couple of their own, so it'll be interesting to see how they play this. But we can see that they're starting to move into position now to engage onto this double shield comp.
Here we go, engagement now inbound from the Guangzhou Gangsters. Here they have some ultimates in coming up as well. Cam is taken down by Orsted though, and it's gonna slow them down at least a little bit as they're trying to. It looks like they're just trying to build up this nano. Oh, Sly's taken down now.
That's an awesome stagger by Orsted onto Sly. Then he gets taken out immediately after, but then DNA picks out Frozen as well.
So interesting little trade there. It works out in the favor of Death Card so far, kind of keeping Guangzhou at bay. Delphi at the front line here for Death Cards, trying to keep them holding on right now and keep this defense up. Try to get that map point, get a little pride out of this matchup here, taking a map off Guangzhou. Cam gets the sights onto that high ground. They know they're up there, and here comes Chikara Hero. Nano in hand here. Here comes the blade, and now it's Nano boosted here for Frozen, but the double stick from Orsted finds both Cam and Sly for the Death Cards, but Frozen's Nano Blade is gonna be enough. They get 3, and now the Death Cards, despite that strong stick from Orsted there, and it's gonna be Guangzhou pushing past this point and moving on. They're gonna get about 3 minutes on the clock here, Beth.
Yeah, it was absolutely beautiful. Right at the beginning, that awesome stick from Orsted, but the Nano Blade from Frozen just absolutely putting in work. Time after time, we've seen it on this map. Just absolutely doing a fantastic job on this Genji at keeping Death Cards on their back foot.
Here we go now. Frozen trying to stay alive here, taken very low. Is going to be dropped out as Death Cards now firmly holding this center position on this high ground. Charybdis looking for some pickoffs here. Sees a couple with that arrow, but not really able to get anything started as they're taken very low by the spam from Cam here on the Hanzo. You see Charybdis again using that high ground to advantage. This is a great exemplary case of why high ground is so important right here in Overwatch. Cam continues to try to apply pressure here in that high ground position as the ultimate starts to come through. Tyler finds 2, DNA finds 1. The ultimate barrage is on, and it's all Guangzhou coming out in favor.
Yeah, absolutely massive bomb by Tyler, and then following up with a kill on Kersey, just clearing this point of the Death Cards. Nano invested onto Haru Hero here, which is kind of an interesting pick, but it does secure the fight and make it so they have a pretty good push onto the end here.
Ooh, our hero trapped very low there. Little headshot from Charybdis, keeping them honest here. The Dragon Strike in from Cam to split up Death Cards here. Now a Dragon Strike matching back from Charybdis right under the cart. Neither one finding any kills, but Orsted gets 2 with that Pulse Bomb, but it's just not enough. Guangzhou gets the sweep, gets the 4-0, and a statement win here in week 1 of Season 9.
Guangzhou just looking so clean across the board and so strong in every role. Easy to see why they're undefeated. Kersey getting play of the game here. I was going to give him a shout out anyways. Orissa's a hard character to get a lot of recognition on, but I feel like he was playing this really well, had some very well-timed bongos. But overall, Guangzhou just looking a little too strong and a little too clean, and they're able to take the sweep in this first map of the season.
Guangzhou, fantastic performance here tonight, picking up that 4-0 victory over the Death Cards. Death Cards had some shining at some points throughout the night tonight, but were unable to put together the map win against the Season 8 champion. So Guangzhou continuing very much where they left off last season. Beth, any particular person stand out to you tonight as MVP?
All right, so I have a person and then I just have a play that I want to call back to, if that's okay. So the person I'm going to call out is Haru Hero. Again, not a name we've said a lot. Really in those first 2 maps, put in a lot of work on the Reaper and on off tank as well. Was a solid player throughout the match. I just want to pull attention again to that King's Row play of the game with the charge and the high noon from the McCree. Like, that was just a beautiful play. I love that play. So just wanted to bring that one up as well.
Great team.
How about you, Yeti?
Great team play from the Guangzhou Gangsters. Great individual efforts. I got to give a shout out to Cam. Cam came out and shined on every single hero they played tonight. They played tank. They played DPS. pure perfection right there from Cam. Season 8 MVP, making a strong case already for Season 9 MVP. Again, it's 1 week, but I'm making the statements, damn it. I am not pulling anything back. I'm not pulling any punches. Once again, reminder in the exclamation point store, if you want to pick up 15% off any Tranquility merchandise. It's the best way to support your favorite teams and the Tranquility gaming community as well. So we certainly appreciate you picking that up. We do want to give a shout out tonight to your producer, Bowsy, your observer tonight, unfeatured. Thank you both so much for your fantastic work tonight. And for Beth, I'm Mr. Yeti. We certainly appreciate you tuning in. Tune in tomorrow for the Discord tier feature matches.